Hello Libra, this is your October 15th to October 31st, 2016 read. For the main read, I'm using the Morgan Greer Tarot. I don't have the backs currently. It exists somewhere in my house. But it's a great deck. I've had it a long time, very powerful messages, so I wanted to use it for this read, for these reads, I should say. I've been using it for all of them. And for the advice cards, I'm using the Magical Spell cards by Lucy Cavendish. I got this deck as a gift from a friend, and it's just an awesome deck. It gives great messages. It feels really good. It's very home feel usually with them, so I thought I'd add it right in there. As usual, I've already pre-shuffled the deck, and I'll get right to it. Okay. Now, this is very interesting because this popped up. I saw this on the bottom of the deck, and I don't always use the bottom of the deck card. Only if I'm drawn to it do I use it. In this case, I'm feeling this when I saw it, and I don't usually look at the bottom of the deck, but sometimes I do. I'm feeling that there's a lot of love going on here. What's going on in this time frame has to do with your emotions big time. I feel like it's how you feel you're treated, and I feel like that's what this is going on. And the love is there, and it's almost like a reminder that you are loved for some of you. For the majority of you, I think you're going to feel that love anyway, and this is just a very good time frame for you. But like the love, like this is how I feel like this is like a representation of how you're feeling in this time frame. Very loved, very excited, very active social life, however you choose that to be. Family, friends, online. I feel like there's a lot going on here. With the first card, the overall energy, it's the Two of Staffs, or Rods, however you want to view that. And when I look at this, I see this is someone kind of looking into the future. It's almost like crystal ball gazing to me when I look at this person typically. But I also feel like there's a lot of beauty and action. Like you're planning action, there's a lot of beauty in what you're doing. Communication, of course. Libras are very good communicators. I feel like almost like de-stemming a rose or de-thorning a rose, in a sense. Seeing the rose for the beauty instead of the thorns. I feel like you're very aware of the thorns, but you're kind of concentrating on the beauty of this time frame, which is helping you feel that love. As we start this time frame, we're going in with this energy, which is the Two of Swords. I've had this card come through in a few different ways. Sometimes it's come through as justice. I feel like this is kind of like, I feel like this is coming through like, what do I say? Like, almost like you're kind of feeling a little restricted, like I don't want to leave a situation the way it is, but I don't want to just upset the apple cart just to watch the apples fall all over the place and have to pick them up anyway. Kind of getting that feeling, like this isn't set up to have long-term success, but I really don't want to cause a big issue either, so I feel like you're kind of stuck. And you're just like, well, it's going to cause an issue on its own. Do I want to start off ahead of time, just so we can have be more productive later, or is it better if I just let it go forward on its own and come to its own demise? I'm kind of getting that feel as we go into the 15th. And I feel like it's kind of like the future thing, looking forward to the future, like looking at a situation and being like, I don't see this working out long term, but since it's going to crack apart on its own, do I want to like point it out now and have to deal with all the heat from it, or wait till it goes on its own and maybe not have to deal with it as much? Maybe. And it's almost like a big maybe, like, am I going to have to deal with this anyway, and should I just do it now, or do I just want to like hold off and see how it plays out on its own? And I feel like what's going on, I feel like there's problems around you more than, I don't feel like this is you directly, because this is coming up in the environment, And I feel like someone has a broken heart. And in a lot of cases, it's someone around you. I feel like you might know about an affair. Either you know about an affair going on between a couple, or, you know, there's a couple, I don't feel like it's yours, but someone else's. I get in, like, some type of affair, unless you're having an affair, and then you're kind of like, they find out about it, but you know if you're doing that or not. I feel like the majority of the cases, that's not really what's happening, but hey, it could be. But I'm definitely getting that somebody got their heart broke in some sense, and they learned about some infidelity, and you're a part of this situation as a friend. I almost feel like in a lot of cases you knew, and that might be like the cross, like, you know that it's starting to come to light and you see it coming, and you're kind of like, do I want to say everything I know, or just kind of let it, I mean, it's going to fall apart anyway. It's not, like, should I say all that I know? I feel like that's what's going on. We're going to pop out some advice cards, because it's interesting. As I'm looking here, I'm getting reminded that I feel like this isn't a bad time for you. I feel like there's a lot of love for you, and I feel like you're very appreciated, and you're very important to people, and you feel that. I feel like you're feeling the love. I get that this is how you feel in this time frame. You feel loved. I feel like there's love overflowing for you. So as I keep going forward, we got the, what am I going to do? What do I want to do? We got the heartbreak. Someone around you is getting their heart broken. I feel like it's just... I'm also getting this. For this heartbreak, I'm getting like... I'm literally getting like a mother in a hospital with her child, and she's been taking care of this child, but it's really like, it's getting a little worse. And she needs help, and it's hard. I feel like I'm getting a lot, like it's painful, like it makes me want to kind of cry. That's sad. And I feel like these are people very close to you, and that cross, like do I say, do I not say, like, you're trying to help plan for the future, but you don't want to make it worse now. Like, it's a very sensitive subject, but you're seeing what's coming. I feel in some cases you're hoping you're not right, but you're seeing things progress a certain way, and it's painful. And you're very stuck in this cross, like, you want to keep giving this person hope, but you're afraid to give them too much hope. The way it's looking, that it's just going to be a huge crash. And part of you wants to, like, prepare them for what you're seeing. And you're not the only one seeing it. Like, I feel like there's other conversations, caring conversations for the person going through this, and it's just hard to, like, you don't want that person to give up hope, but you don't want them to be completely devastated any more than they must be. And this is a hard situation. I'm getting a lot of heaviness, a lot of sadness with this situation. As we go forward, in one respect or another, something is happening for someone. Their heart is broken. There's a breaking of a heart, definitely. How that's actually happening is going to depend on your life. I feel when this time frame comes in, you knew it was coming. So if you're watching this in the beginning of October, am I going to release this? I'm going to release this like on Friday here, so it's pretty much the very end of September. Like, there's maybe a couple days left. But if you're watching this at the beginning of October, I'm feeling like you're going to already know what this is probably about. So don't get worried, like, oh my God, is somebody going to have a major upset, blah, blah, blah. I really feel like this feels like it's been draining for a while, and it's just kind of getting worse. That's what I feel like at this time frame. As we go forward, next in your line is the Two of Pentacles, which is having choices. And the way the face on here is really making me think you're very, very much thinking about what you're doing. I'm getting active. I feel like you're putting things in place. You're doing things. Like, this heartbreak is really, like, I feel like you're doing things for the person that's got their heart broken, whether it's, like, taking care of things for them at home, bringing them like a bouquet or like a fruit basket, edible arrangements. Is that what I'm thinking? Things like that. You know, where they have the fruit on the sticks and it looks like a beautiful bouquet, but you can eat it, that type of thing. Or maybe just, I feel like you're caring for this person and you're trying to, I feel like you're not only trying to cheer them up, but you're trying to keep them going. And I almost feel like in some cases, like I'm getting this edible arrangement thing because I feel like it's so beautiful and so heartfelt that this person is in so much pain that they're really not taking care of themselves and they're not eating like they should. So you're getting them something that's really beautiful and showing that you spent some money on it, and then they kind of have they feel obligated to eat some of it, but you're like, as long as you're eating something, that makes me feel better. You know what I mean? Because they need to eat. That's like, I'm getting that. It's kind of weird, but that's the type of things you're doing, though. I feel like you're really caring for this person and taking care of them. As we go forward, that burden, I feel like that burden like comes to a head in the beginning, closer, like shortly after the 15th, that burden comes to a head. And I feel like they go within and they get very introspective and quiet, or they kind of hide away from the world. And I think they're getting nudged to do certain things or to, you know, to take care of themselves. Some of them might go into complete, like, cocooning. I'm getting like more of a cocoon where they just kind of like shut in and like maybe just take care of themselves, hopefully taking care of themselves, or just kind of like they stay away from the world. They don't want to talk to anybody. They don't want to look at anybody. Like, I feel like some of them are just so drained that they just don't want to deal with people at all. I feel like you're definitely still making sure things are taken care of. Reminding them that you're there. Definitely you have to be careful with the situation. Think about the person that you're helping. You might have to stop in every now and then. I feel like people will probably be stopping in anyway, but the person may not want the company, but it's good that people are stopping in and checking on this person. And I feel like it shouldn't be too long, like 3-4 days tops, that they want to hide away from the world, or that they actually do that. And then, like, the social interaction has to keep going, I feel. I feel like the social interaction, it's coming back a little bit, that I feel like you're a pivotal person in that. Like, you get them going. You're like, let's go out to lunch or something like that. Or like, I feel like something happens, or you bring them lunch and you have lunch. I feel like you just want to be with them, and you may try to get them to talk about things that are off subject or on subject. I think it's truly going to be, you're going to take it as whatever they want to talk about, as long as you can keep them talking and you want to like make them feel better. I feel like that's where you're going with this. I'm very much feeling like when you talk with them, actually, is this how this is? This is actually how this is coming through, like this. I feel like when you're talking with them, you're trying to get them to see a brighter future. I think you're trying to get them to see hope. I feel like you are doing what you can to make things go forward. And I feel like your strength is here. Again, the love. You're feeling very loved and a lot of love overflowing. I feel like you have a lot of love overflowing for this person. So the positive part of this card is that, you know, this person means a lot, and you feel like you're making that difference. And I feel, not only do you feel like it, but you are making that difference. And you're looking out for this person in the long term. And that's where we're going with this. And I think that's where this card hits the hardest, is when I feel like you're going to slowly get that person to come out of their shell a little bit and get them talking and eating maybe. And you're just going to, I feel like they need someone around more than they want it. Like, they don't want someone around, but they need someone around. And I feel like you're making sure that people, or you're there, and you're trying to get them out some more. I feel like they want to walk away. Like, it's hard for them. It's really hard because they just want to walk away from what happened and take their burdens and just, like, disappear for a while. I feel like that's what's going on. And like, when I'm looking at this card, this is environment for you again. This comes right after the Hermit for the people you're dealing with, the person you're dealing with. The two swords are what is actually stable and this person has in their life. So they do have things left. Things are still going well. And I feel like their burdens, they're having a hard time not concentrating on the burdens, which is understandable because the draining way I'm seeing the situation as it's been leading up, it's just like they're so used to caring for or dealing with this certain situation. Now that it's kind of hit its pinnacle, whether it's a relationship that went to the side or unfortunately it was like a loved one that was sick and kind of expired, unfortunately. I feel like what's happening is that they're having a hard time seeing these good things in their life. There's a couple good things still there, a couple important things like that mean a lot to them, but they're so burdened, and they're shadow swords, which makes me really feel like it's all, like, not all in their mind, but like it's weighing on their mind so much. Like they're just constantly going over these things, and I almost feel like some of them are playing that what if game. Well, what if this, and what if I did that, and what if I had just, like reliving it. And I feel like they're kind of keeping that to the side. Another big piece of this card that I'm getting is that they're showing you these two swords, and they're trying to make you feel that they're happy that they still have these things. But what's in truth is happening is they're kind of hiding from other people that they're constantly feeling traumatized by the situation, and they're constantly going through it. Right now, it's kind of hard for them. So I feel like within this time frame, which it's fairly new, whatever happened, they're having a hard time not thinking about it or overthinking it. I feel like you're gonna. I think you're going to probably notice more than you say, but I think you're also going to realize that this person needs a little more help. You may realize that you may either need to pull in some more friends or family, or you might have to like encourage this person to talk with someone professionally. You want to be careful with this person. I feel like this person may be more fragile than they let on, and that may be another thing that's coming through with this card. They can't be pushed too much. It's going to take a lot of care. I feel like the situation, it was a deep, involved situation. So if it was a breakup, then they were really invested, and they had plans for the future going forward, that they are really devastated by this situation. If it's not, if it's a loved one that kind of either expired or has got an illness, and it's just kind of like really traumatized the person you love, the person that they love, their life is going to change and it's going to affect them greatly, and it's really upsetting them. I feel like that's really like the mental stress going on here. They really need some relief, and they may need some professional help. You may need to pull in your resources, find out who's good, and then just kind of suggest, maybe just try this, or maybe there's a group we can go to, and I can just hang out with you, and just that way somebody's there with you. You don't have to go alone, that type of thing. I feel like I'm getting the courage in the sense like that may be for some of you what happens. This person is really like upset and trying to show a brave front, but I see like you're kind of seeing through it, and you're like, you kind of want to take them. You want to help them go somewhere and make them feel like, they don't have to go through it alone. I feel like you have a lot of compassion and you want to help as much as possible. And you're kind of understanding what's going on with them, but I feel like it's very deep. And it's kind of hard. I feel like you're looking at them and there's a lot of love for them, but it's hard to know if you're making any difference. I feel like that's why the wheel is popping out here. Because you're having a hard time knowing whether you're making that difference. And I feel like in this case, which is interesting how the wheel's coming through, I feel like that's where you are. You're sitting at the top of this wheel, and you're like, is it going well? Is it not going well? Like, you're kind of teetering right here on the top of the wheel. And I think that's the not knowing, because it's mostly about the person you're trying to care for. It's the first time this card has come up like this for me. But I really feel like you're teetering. Like, is this going to go well? Is it not going to go well? And I feel like when you hit that 30th, 31st time frame, going through to November, you're kind of like, that's where you are. Again, I have the love. I feel like the love for this person, feeling loved. I don't feel like they're having freakouts or like screaming or anything like that, but I do feel like you're extremely deeply concerned. I feel like they're very depleted and, you know, worn and very withered in a sense, emotionally. And you're having a hard time knowing whether you're making the difference. I'm getting told, though, you are making a difference. Have the courage to keep going. In some cases, you may not be getting a response, or they might be trying to push you away. But I'm getting, have courage, stick with it. I feel like you are making the difference. But it's going to feel like you're like, I don't know if this is worth it or not. I don't know if this is actually going to help or not. Am I just making this worse? Am I making this better? I feel like that's what's going through your head. Am I making this worse? Am I making this better? I don't want to make this worse. I definitely want to make this better. Like, and you're just like stuck at the top of this wheel. Like, I don't know. Am I helping or not? I don't want to make it worse. Like, you're really like worried that you're making it worse. I'm getting very strongly that you're making it better. Okay. So the overall read here, we have you're looking out over the future. You're seeing things coming. Definitely about the future. You got some action going on, some beauty. The beauty is the love. You definitely value this person. I feel like you want to say some things. You see things coming, but you're trying to be careful of the person's feelings. The person this is affecting, definitely there's heartbreak happening here. You see it coming, but you don't want to hurt them any more than has to be. You also don't want to make them, you don't want to make it worse, but you don't want to, like, it's one of those things where, like, I don't really want to, like, push the blocks over when they're just going to fall on their own. Like, you know, like a tower of blocks. You're like, it's going to fall. I see it falling. I don't really want to push it myself if it's going to fall anyway. I mean, I don't want to upset the person and make them, like, you're just like, I don't want to make them unhappy before I have to make them unhappy. That type of thing. I feel like you're very much involved. You're doing things to help people. I feel like there's a lot of concern. A lot of times this is a ship coming in. I feel like this is more, instead of like a ship coming in, you feel like the situation is going to happen. Like something you've known is going to happen is happening. It's coming right in. You see it coming in, and you're having emotional ties to it, and you're worried about, you know, the effect on your loved one, friend, family, however that may be. Keep in mind that person, after the heartbreak hits, they're going to go inside. I do feel like the divine guidance is there for them to, you know, remind them. People like you are there for them. It doesn't have to be completely devastating. It's going to be painful. It's going to hurt. It's just not going to get past that without it. But it doesn't have to be, you know, completely paralyzing. I feel like the divine guidance, and people like you especially, I feel like you're not acting alone in most cases. Like, there's other people there too trying to help. But, like, the universe is trying to remind the person going through this heartbreak, however it may be happening, that the love is there, that there's people around this person that love them and can help them through, and they need to just, you know, reach out. Excuse me. I feel like you're very good. I do feel like you have some success in doing that. It's just that it's hard because it's a day-by-day situation with this person. This person is really devastated. And it's just playing over in their heads, and they're just getting more and more stuck in it. Not that that's not valid, but when it gets so paralyzing, there's no healing, there's no growth from being paralyzed. And I feel like you have some success in getting them out and going where you need to do, getting them to do things, eating, taking care of themselves, cleaning themselves up, taking a shower if that's what it needs. In fact, maybe you get them to take a shower because you're going out, and then you're having them eat. Like, you know what I mean? It's working. But I do feel like the person, like, they might avoid you a little after that. And that's where you might feel like, is this working, is it not? Or they might complain about it after the fact. I mean, keep this in mind. If you are successful, which I do feel you're going to be, and you get them out of the house, you get them to take care of themselves a little bit, you get them to eat, you feel like the night went well, but then you hear afterwards that the person was kind of complaining, like, oh, so and so, you made me do this, or I just went to appease that person, or they kind of like talk negatively about it. It's that pain kind of thawing out a little bit, and that's what's happening. It's not really, they're not really complaining about you, they just need to vent that anger and frustration, and you're kind of getting the sideways backlash of it a little bit. And that's might be, again, where this comes around, like, am I making a difference? Am I not? Did I make the situation worse? Because this person seems really like I'm the worst person ever to do this. But I'm getting that you're helping. You're really helping. Keep in mind, if that comes around with this person you're helping that you love just says some negative things, or like, you know, they make it out like, oh, I didn't want to do any of that, but so-and-so made me, so I just did it to make them happy. You know what I mean? If it comes back to you in that sense, that that's what they said, I feel like their burdens, their shadow swords, are really, really overcoming them a little bit. And it really was a great thing that you did, and you're making a great difference. It's very important to have that courage and to hold strong and know that you make that difference. Your love for that person is real, and once they can move out of this grief and start healing, they'll be more appreciative of what you've done. They're just having, I feel like they're really overwhelmed and bogged right down, and they're just so sad. Some of them are angry, and they just need to vent it. And I do feel like in some cases, though, they need to seek professional help because they're really like doing a number on themselves. And I'm getting, again, not that the situation wasn't that bad, because I feel like the situation for them definitely was bad for them. Even if it's an emotional relationship breakup, they had plans. They had things in their mind that they had plans for going forward. And they're having a real hard time with this. So they might need that extra little help, professional help, to get them through it, to seek ways to actually be happy again. But just keep in mind, they really are beat down by it. And by going over and over in their mind and constantly being in this negative state, it may backlash on you in a bit. I feel like it's around the way type talk, like gossip type talk. Also keep that in mind, like if you've ever done this experiment where you have, 10 people in a row, and the moderator writes like a 5-word sentence on a piece of paper, and then shows it, the first person in the line reads it, and then they have to whisper it to the next person, and then they whisper it all the way down, and then the 10th person writes it down, what they heard, and it's like an 11-word sentence that had nothing to do with the first sentence, the first part of the situation, you know what I mean? Keep that in mind. Like, when one story passes from one to the next, a lot of times it gets changed based on how people feel or what they think they heard, things like that. Not intentionally making it worse, but it just kind of gets weird sometimes like that. Just keep that in mind. So, as an overall, just keep in mind, because I think I just did recap this, but keep in mind, you're making a difference. These people mean a lot to you. At the end of it, you may be questioning whether you're having an effect or not. You are having a great effect. Just keep that in mind. Of course, comment below. Let me know how this affected you. I'd like to know, so I stop yammering on and let this reading finish. Of course, if you'd like a personal read from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com, James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.